Hello and welcome to Everyday Tarot, your daily dive into the divine wisdom of the tarot. I'm your host, Camille A. Saunders, healer, intuitive tarot reader, and professional witch, and today I'm talking about the color pink and color magic. Whether you're a seasoned tarot reader or just starting to explore, this podcast offers daily insights, intuitive messages, and practical advice drawn from the cards. Each episode is designed to help you connect with your inner wisdom, find clarity in your decisions, and tap into the energy of the universe. Tune in every day, Monday through Friday, for fresh perspectives and empowering guidance from the tarot as interpreted by me. If you love the show, the best way to support it for free is by listening daily, leaving a review, and subscribing or following in your favorite podcast app. If you love the podcast and want to support it further, I have some other offers. You can join the Everyday Tarot Patreon family, where benefits include getting an individual card pulled for you once a month or a one-time individual 5-card reading along with other benefits. You can always check out my New Moon Collective Tarot readings. They will be on my YouTube channel, Camille A. Saunders, at youtube.com. The one I have linked here is from October 21st. I have just done one as well for November, so stay tuned for that. You can check out spreads that I've created, tarot spreads. So I created one for the Queer Joy Summit that wrapped up in October. So it's a queer coven spooky tarot spread, a 6-card Halloween and queer themed tarot spread that you can go ahead and grab now if you want to continue the spooky vibes in your life. You can always check out episodes I've been on other folks' podcasts. So I was recently on Kayla Moore's Connected Pleasure podcast. My episode was all about living by the body, dreaming of land, and weaving the future. If you want to check out Kayla's offers, you can find those at connectedpleasurecoaching.com. Spoiler, but Kayla was on my podcast too, so I'll be compiling an entire guests season. It was probably be the last season of this year, and so get excited to hear Kayla as well talk about tarot, oracle, their experience, and have us do a live reading on the podcast. I am looking for more guests to be on my podcast. I still have maybe 1 or 2 more slots to fill. So if you're interested or know someone that might be a good fit, please fill out my form to be a guest on the podcast. Or if there's someone that you want to recommend, you can always email me at me@camilleasaunders.com. With their contact information, and I'll do my best to reach out to them. If you want to work with me more directly and perhaps you don't live local to me, I'll be kicking off my Tarot for Transformation monthly workshop starting in 2026, where we will be deep diving into the major arcana 1 card a month to discover our best selves and create a life worth living. So if you're interested, you can sign up for that for more info. You can work with me one-on-one, as I am a sex and relationships therapist and coach, seeing individual and relational clients all over from my home office. I love working with queer, poly, and witchy clients. So if you'd like to work with me one-on-one in that capacity, you can book a free consultation now. Head to my website and to start your journey. That's CamilleASaunders.com. If you are getting into the crafting spirit, especially now as we go into the cooler, darker months of the year, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, you can learn how to create your own tarot cards with collage. So occasionally I do virtual tarot card crafting workshops. So this was one that I recorded in the past. So if you weren't able to attend live, it has a whole hour-long recording. I have my step-by-step method, examples of the cards I've created, journaling questions, and then a PDF to walk you all through it. And you can go ahead and grab that now. So if this is something you want to do, again, learn this method, and then you can go on and create all your own tarot cards. I give you a list of supplies. Like I said, I show you ones I've created and just hopefully get that inspiration flowing for you. If you're looking for another tarot spread, you can get my free one, the 2025 5-card tarot spread I created just for you at the beginning of this year. You can get that by joining my newsletter list. My weekly newsletter always has the most up-to-date info on upcoming events, presentations, musings, and info and photos of my day-to-day life. So if you want to grab that, you can join the newsletter list. And like I said, that's the best place to find out the most up-to-date information on everything I have going on. If you're local and you want to meet me in person, you can check out my Let's Talk Tarot meetup group. Our next event will be celebrating the full moon as part of my full moon women's circles. This will be the last event for the full moon of 2025. So you can join my colleague Izzy and I under the glow of the full moon for an evening of connection, reflection, and ritual. We meet at Thresholds Collective in Tacoma the first Sunday of the month to welcome in the full moon together, and we do sort of a 90-minute ritual of connection, reflection, and sharing. So the next one coming up is on December 7th. That will be the last full moon of 2025. So we would love to see you there. Tickets are already available on Eventbrite, and I'll have the link in the show notes. And then we will have an event coming up for the first full moon in 2026. But we're still working on getting all of the links and everything on the back end. So stay tuned for that. Like I said, you can join the newsletter list if you want to make sure you don't miss any of that information. And finally, you can find the links for any of these offers in the show notes or on my website, CamilleASaunders.com/everydaytarot, in addition to the images of the cards I pull on each episode. All right, well, welcome to season 18, where I'm talking all about color magic. If you haven't listened to my other seasons yet, you can check those out. And today I'm talking about the color pink. So we'll get into the color, we'll talk color magic, days of the week correspondences, then we'll talk tarot cards and their affiliations with pink, and then we will go ahead and pull a card at the end of the session to see what message the color pink has for us today and maybe how we can work with it. So let's get into the color pink. So pink is a pale tint of red, the color of the pink flower. It was first used as a color name in the late 17th century. So unlike a lot of other colors, pink is a more modern color. It's most often associated in surveys in Europe and the US with charm, politeness, sensitivity, tenderness, sweetness, childhood, femininity, and romance. A combination of pink and white is associated with innocence, whereas a combination of pink and black links to more eroticism and seduction. In the 21st century, pink is often seen as a symbol of femininity, though it was not always this way. In the 1920s, light red, which is similar to pink, was seen as a color that reflected masculinity. Let's see. And it sounds like the color pink is named after the flowers, which were called pinks, that are flowering plants in the genus Dianthus, and derives from the frilled edges of the flowers. And I guess the verb to pink dates from the 14th century. It means to decorate with a perforated or punched pattern, again, similar to how those flowers look. So it's very interesting that we sort of, I guess similar to the color orange, like the color came from the thing that was previously describing, like the name of the flower was pinks, and so then that's where we got the name pink from. And again, it says the word pink can refer to any pale shades of colors between bluish red to red in hue, and just kind of a different kind of tint of red. Let's see here. I think that's all I want to share on there, and that was pulled from Wikipedia. In color magic, we think about purple again as pink as, so it's not associated with any of the chakras, again, because pink is sort of like an amalgamation color. So we can sort of think about, so purple or white corresponds to the crown chakra, and red corresponds to the root chakra, which is very interesting because, again, like the root and the crown are opposites, basically, or like the ends of the spectrum in chakras. So like you start with the root, then sacral, then solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, and then crown. So it brings us like full circle. So red, right, is the element of fire, passion, depth of feeling, blood, creation, destruction. And then purple or white with the crown chakra is the divine, source energy, like the soul experience, regal, higher self, which again, sort of, I think pink often aligns, I think kind of traditionally with like royalty and again, masculinity, because of some of those historical like purple and reds as royal colors. So while it does not, right, and associate with any in particular of the chakras, it's sort of interesting that it kind of spans the whole circle if we were to connect them together. On rachelpatterson.co.uk, they talk about that pink, again, is associated with honor, morality, friendships, emotional love, social ability, goodwill, caring, healing emotions, peace, affection, nurturing, romance, and partnerships. And for the days of the week correspondences, again, pink is not on here. So Sunday is yellow, Monday is white, Tuesday is red, Wednesday is purple, Thursday blue, Friday green, Saturday black. So Monday white and Tuesday red, right? So pink could kind of go perhaps for either of those, because again, pink is sort of a mix of red and white. I would say I generally wear pink maybe more on Tuesdays. I don't have like a whole lot of red, so I mix and match for those. And sometimes like, right, pink or purple, like a more magenta color sort of is between pink and purple, I would say, or perhaps red and purple. So you could also maybe do it Wednesdays, but then also because Friday is associated with the planet Venus and the goddess Frigg, as I've talked about earlier, the goddess Venus is associated with pink because it is much more of this emotional love, fertility, pleasure, art, and that is often more associated with pink than the green that's associated, I would say, with the goddess Frigg. That is more of the kind of like nature side of things. So yeah, you can also wear pink on Fridays or when you're celebrating Venus. So you get to decide there. And then the color magic I talked about earlier with the root or with the chakras, that's from forum.spells8.com on color magic. Yeah, and then I guess I want to get into the cards I pulled. So today we are looking at the Herb Crafters Tarot, and then also the Desert Illuminations Tarot by Lindsay D. Williams. So I have some decks that are actually fully pink or have pink as the background color. So I'll probably pull from one of those for the how can we work with the color pink today. But I tried to pick decks for this one that had pink as more the focus colors in the card itself, and less as just like a general design aesthetic. Again, the Goddess of Love tarot deck that I will probably pull from for that is associated with Venus, so it has a lot of pink. The back of the cards are pink, etc. So in the Herb Crafters Tarot, there were actually multiple cards, and some of them it was hard to differentiate between red and pink, which makes sense because again, pink is really just like a shade of red. But I pulled, let's see here, the Empress, which is associated with rose. So of course, rose is often associated with red, but there are many pink roses. And again, rose has this sort of like love, protection, Venus energy there. And it has pink on the card itself, so I like that one. I pulled the 9 of Water, which would be like the 9 of Cups. And in this one, it's associated with peach trees. And actually what is shown here is the pink blossoms of the peach tree. So actually a lot of fruit trees blossoms are pink, or they're sort of, again, in this shades of white to red. And so peach would be one of them. And again, if we think of peaches, the fruit, or in the beautiful pink flowers, right, they're delicate, they get bruised easily, they're like juicy and pleasurable, right? A really good peach, in my opinion, should like, you take a bite of it and it like runs down your chin. Like it's so juicy and incredible. And again, sort of in like the height of summer sort of experience, all those sugars, condensed down into a peach, quite lovely. Yeah, and if we think of water, right, like our cups cards or the water element, right, again, we have the more emotion association there. I was going to see if there's anything in particular on this is the 9 of Water. Celebrate the pleasures of life, delicate blossoms ripen into succulent fruit, and enjoy your own sweet company. Yeah, so emotional nourishment, comfort, happiness, right? Again, I feel like those are a lot of things associated with pink flowers, sweet fruit, blossoms, and then also just everything else that's happening at the time of year. They also talk about that peach tea cools inflammation, wash away the heat of negativity and disharmony. So actually, right, like the tea itself of peaches also is going to sort of cool you off in the way that water does. Okay, and then finally I pulled the Adelita of water, which is the ocotillo plant, which I have only ever seen more recently, like in the Southwest US. So it is much more of a desert plant. I'm trying to remember, is the Adelita... Okay, Adelita is like the knight. So this would be like the Knight of Cups. So again, we have the water sign for the cups element there. Yeah, ocotillo. Protect your heartwood, but let your love blossom. Strong boundaries create healthy relationships and give your whole heart to the cause. So nurturing, and actually in the image, so ocotillo is like this very, desert plant that is kind of like, it looks like it's just like a bunch of sticks with like really, really tiny kind of like succulent looking leaves, but it's often quite tall. So it's just like a tall kind of shrub with tiny, tiny leaves, because oftentimes in the desert, everything has small leaves so that you lose less water through like perspiration, I guess. Anyway, and then the flowers on it are at the ends, and they are like a bright pink, almost like a hot pink. And then on the card itself, actually, there's someone pouring like pink tea into a cup, and we have like a lot of blues in the background. We have a blue river, we have kind of blue mountains in the background, and then like a beautiful blue sky with clouds in it. So we also have this sort of like the calming sensation, right? The wateriness of the card. It says the inner heartwood of ocotillo is used as sturdy building material. She vows to be a model of self-care, just as the beautiful flowers of the ocotillo remain safe at the top of the tall plant covered in hidden thorns. She shares her heart with brilliant flair while keeping it safe and protected from harm. She has a deeply caring center, but will battle to protect her boundaries when it comes to love. So again, right, we have just like rose sort of similarly, right? We have like the delicate flowers, the scentedness, but then we also kind of have the thorns and the protection, and right, the often beautiful things, especially in nature, like have to have ways of protecting themselves so they don't get eaten or stepped on or crushed or other things there. And it says you can make a sun tea with the flower blossoms. So that is sort of what is depicted in the image there. All right, so let's move on to the Desert Illuminations Tarot deck by Lindsay D. Williams. So here again, like there are a lot of pink imagery on these cards. It has very like turquoise, sunset orange, kind of magenta, hot pink, and then like lime green colors of they're sort of standard in this deck. So I pulled some ones that kind of feature pink. So I pulled the 8 of Chilies, which is like the 8 of Wands. I pulled the Page of Daggers, which is like the Page of Swords, and then the High Priestess. And she is wearing like a whole pink dress and like gown and shawl, and she's actually kind of like dressed like a butterfly in this imagery here. I flipped right to the Page of Daggers. So it says that the decorated Page of Daggers stands with his hands in his pockets, deep in contemplation. He's conjuring all his ideas by using his incredible intellect. The clouds are churning in the desert winds around him, symbolic of his enthusiasm and powerful manifestation abilities. He is curious and dignified and plans his actions carefully. The card is saying, just do it. Don't be afraid if you aren't a master of your craft just yet. Your excitement and enthusiasm will get you through any challenge. So curiosity, open-mindedness, and high energy, which again, I feel like are often these things that get associated with pink. In the 8 of Wands here, all of the chilies that are depicted, which are like the wands because they're spicy, they're fiery. It shows the sound realigns the soul as it vibrates high energy. It depicts a bell there. It says the coast is now clear to move forward with all plans. So we have more themes around plans. The card is ringing in a time of fresh new energy and enthusiasm for progress. So sort of similar to the peach card, right? It kind of has this like springtime energy, like fertility, new things coming, blossoming energy to it, and like a lightness. Then of course we think about the high priestess as, right, very powerful. Like I said, here she is depicted as a butterfly maiden. She embodies the divine feminine through the yearly butterfly dance. She represents the sacred feminine and the knowledge of mysterious spirit realm. And yeah, so she sort of holds, and the pillars depicted are between the masculine and feminine, the darkness and the light. She urges you to transform from a caterpillar state of mind and spread your wings into the divine light of positive, loving consciousness. All right, so that's those cards. I was going to pull from the Goddess of Love tarot deck. Very Venusian, love, roses, pink, the whole... basically the whole deck is like red and pink, and to see, you know, how can we work with the color pink today? What are their messages does pink have for us? And this is by Gabriella Herstick and illustrated by Julia Popescu. One of my all-time favorite decks, and very beautiful, also done in collage style. Okay, well, I had a card fly out, so let's see here. Oh, interesting. I pulled the Five of Wands and the Maiden of Cups. Let's see here. The Five of Wands, right? Again, we have sort of the fire element, the let's see here. Embodies the firepower of Mars. There's a battle raging, beloved, but that doesn't mean you need to succumb to violence or petty tactics. In lust and love, communication is key. Yes, you are fighting now, but for what? So thinking about, right, kind of funneling our energy and passion into the fight that we want to have. And then for the Maiden of Cups, which is the Page of Cups equivalent, she is the goddess of spring, a card of immense vulnerability and honesty when it comes to expressing what you're feeling. It says, when you pull the Maiden of Cups, step into this open and sensuous expression of self. Don't listen to fear, but be led by love within. Consider if there's someone you know who embodies this energy, someone you can turn to in support of your experience, a mirror to your own ability to love ceaselessly. So love, and then funneling, right, our energy into the things we care about. So that is the message we have today from the color pink. If you'd like to join me on the journey of using the tarot for transformation, click on the link in the show notes to indicate your interest. Links for the tarot decks I talk about will always be in the show notes and on my website. Thanks for joining me today on Everyday Tarot. Just as a reminder, the podcast comes out daily, Monday through Friday for all of 2025. You can email me, me@CamilleASaunders.com with your thoughts, questions, and more. All right, see you soon. Bye-bye.